A popular uprising that shook the country to its core. A defiant president under siege from his people. As the protesters took charge of the streets, we look back at the events that are changing Egypt.
I will stay on the air if I can until the police come.
In a special program, Al Jazeera gives you a day-by-day account from those that witnessed them firsthand. Egypt burning, at this time on Al Jazeera.
As Washington's allies stumble, one after the other, exposed, losing control and influence, powerless in the face of the people's power, we ask, is this the dawn of a new Middle East? Empire at this time on Al Jazeera.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines,
most South Koreans are not interested in reunification.
Is the inside story at this time on Al Jazeera.
Volunteer tourism is booming in Cambodia, with more and more foreigners helping out in the country's orphanages and schools. But with claims of mismanagement and corruption, are these projects doing more harm than good? 101 East at this time on Al Jazeera.
New calls from behind the barricades. Protesters in Egypt press for more mass demonstrations. And could this man provide the inspiration? The activist behind the Facebook page that set off the revolution is freed after being held for 12 days.
By God's will, we're going to clean this country of this rubbish.
Hello, I'm Darren Jordan. You're watching Al Jazeera, live from Doha. Also coming up, celebrating secession, but southern Sudan will have to wait 5 months until it's confirmed as the world's newest country. Face to face for the first time in 6 months, the two Koreas meet to smooth their battered relationship. And the Moscow bomb mastermind, a Chechen rebel leader, says he ordered a deadly airport attack. Hello, it's 0600 GMT, that's 8 a.m. in Egypt, where anti-government protests are entering a third week. Demonstrators are calling for more mass protests on Tuesday as they keep up the pressure on President Hosni Mubarak to quit. Well, these are the latest pictures from Cairo's Tahrir Square, or Liberation Square. It's now resembling a tented encampment. Protesters are vowing they will stay put until President Hosni Mubarak steps down. Meanwhile, opposition groups say the government has conceded little ground in landmark talks aimed at seeking an end to the crisis. Well, the pro-democracy protests have so far lacked any single leader, but one man has emerged as a hero for many. That's the activist behind the Facebook page credited with starting the uprising. Wael Ghonim was freed on Monday after being detained for 12 days. This video, uploaded onto YouTube, claims to show his capture on January the 28th at Cairo's Liberation Square. Ghonim spoke with an Egyptian TV channel shortly after his release.
First of all, I send my condolences to all the people who were killed. It was a peaceful revolution. We didn't want to do any damage. Don't focus your cameras on me. I'm not a hero. The real heroes are the youth who are behind this revolution. By God's will, we're going to clean this country of this rubbish.
Well, new video has emerged of some of the worst violence in Egypt's capital last week. Here's Andrew Simmons.
A crowd of anti-government protesters surrounding a pro-Mubarak supporters bus that had driven at speed into their number earlier. It's late last Wednesday night. They try to turn the vehicle over, ripping open the driver's door. There's no escape. Here, the driver's already been pulled out, and he's being lynched. From these pictures, it appears no one else was on the bus, but we can't verify that, and the fate of the driver is unknown. The frenzy of anger continues right through the night into the early hours of Thursday. Across the bridge, pro-Mubarak supporters on the move again, seemingly intent on more confrontation. But it all goes wrong. A mob of anti-government protesters swelling in numbers and showing no mercy. Each of the 9 men are attacked. Revenge for the earlier violence in which many of their numbers were killed. Hatred. While some of the men are led away, beaten as they go, another was singled out. It hasn't been possible to establish how many victims of this night lived or died. This was all filmed by a European cameraman. He says 14 minutes later, there was yet another dimension to the violence. Gunfire on the bridge aimed at anti-government protesters. A laser picks out individuals. This round finds its target. It can't be established at this stage who fired these shots, just as it isn't possible to identify victims or their attackers. The questions over last Wednesday night, Thursday morning, linger. Andrew Simmons, Al Jazeera, Cairo.
Meanwhile, public tributes have been pouring in for a journalist killed during last week's violence. Jackie Rowland now reports.
The death of a reporter. Ahmed Mahmoud was shot and killed as he took photographs of the police beating demonstrators near Tahrir Square. Inside the building, the president of the journalist syndicate comes to speak to the widow. Suddenly, he is mobbed by an angry crowd, hounded out as a crony of Hosni Mubarak. Numerous journalists have been beaten up and detained in the last 2 weeks. The one man so far to pay with his life worked for a state Egyptian newspaper.
For Egyptian journalist, Ahmed Mahmoud is a martyr of this revolution. They're not only mourning his death, they're also demanding that President Mubarak step down.
The journalists' union say Ahmed Mahmoud was deliberately targeted by the security forces. They want his killer put on trial.
We want justice for Ahmed Mahmoud. We want justice for all the people now in Tahrir Square and all Egypt. We want justice for this youth who bring this revolution, and someone want to steal it from them.
The marchers are now close to Tahrir Square. They reach the first barricade. The anti-government demonstrators are tense. They fear that Mubarak supporters may be trying to pass. But the procession is allowed through.
On Wednesday, hundreds of young men were killed by the horses and the weapons. And I was there, I saw them. So it is not just one shaheed, hundreds of shuhada.
Ahmed Mahmoud, honoured on this day, is only one among hundreds who have died. And in Tahrir Square, the vigil continues. It will end, the people say, only when Hosni Mubarak steps down. Jackie Rowland, Al Jazeera, Cairo.
Now, southern Sudan is waking up to the prospect of becoming the world's newest nation. Official results confirmed almost 99% of voters in favour of going it alone. Independence comes into effect in July, but as Harry Matassa reports, concerns remain about the future.
Euphoria as people get confirmation that southern Sudan will become the world's newest nation. Many have waited years for independence. As expected, the number of those who voted for secession was overwhelming.
Those who voted for secession, 98.83% of the total valid votes.
President Omar al-Bashir accepted the final results, allaying fears of some he would not let the South go peacefully.
We accept the results and we will not question them. Absolutely. We respect the Southerners' rights to choose what they want.
And people here seem confident officials in southern Sudan will take the new country in the right direction.
They have the abilities and the capacity to lead the country to developing and also to a better future.
Monday's announcement has given southern Sudan international recognition. Organizations like the African Union, the Arab League and the European Union have given their support to the South and promised to develop the new country. But expectations here are high, and building a new nation will not be easy. A lot of work needs to be concluded before Independence Day on the 9th of July. Issues including the disputed border region of IBA, citizenship, border demarcation and oil sharing are some of the challenges. As Southerners here celebrate the birth of a new nation, resolving outstanding issues will determine how peaceful the transition to independence will be. Harun Matasa, Al Jazeera, Juba, Southern Sudan.
Rival military officers from North and South Korea have met for the first time since the shelling of a South Korean island in November. The talks are aimed at easing tensions on the Korean peninsula and kickstarting the stalled North Korean nuclear talks. Stephanie Scowen now reports.